Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Patty's Corner.
Thank you.
I am so honored that you came. I mean, it was, it's people are going to kind of be confused because of the last few guests I've had, my husband, one of them, and then the people that I've known for years. We've only just connected, but I feel I've known you for years. Mm-hmm. It's like, I feel like we're boats or ships that pass through the night past each other, but we never docked at the same harbor.
Interesting.
Because we have a lot of common people
Yep.
that, know you and know me, but we just never ever had the chance to sit and connect. And I'm from the day of the detox, immediate energy. I felt immediately attracted to your energy. I like the way you did the yoga, and you just have this really amazing aura around you. And
Thank you.
then when I went to your meditation class, which I wanted to be a regular at Sanctuary, your yoga and your meditation is
Inshallah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I feel the same. I really do. I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank
It's
you.
so beautiful. And I was really surprised to know that you are American.
Really?
Yeah.
I've blended in too much, the
Yeah.
chameleon.
Yeah.
I've been called a chameleon. I've been here long enough. So it's like my whole concept, my business is called Infusion. So it's like that seeping in, that osmosis. I've been here long enough. And when I got here, just the way that I was raised, and because I come from a different ethnic background, both sides of the family, mom and dad, I right away, I believe being and hanging out, immersing myself with the local life and the local people. And yeah, I guess that's why I blend in. Like, people come up to me and like, oh, there's this American lady, you know her? And I'm like, nope. I know the Kuwaiti culture, the Kuwaiti people here. Talk to me about somebody on Instagram or the farmers that we have and the trailblazers we have for so many things here in Kuwait. Those are the people I know. But every time, an American lady comes to Kuwait, it's I have to be part of different circles, and then eventually I end up meeting them. People just assume that I'm hanging out, I've got some secret back cave with, we're all American ladies, so we're just hanging out with each other. It's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a special kind of skill to be able to blend in and integrate, right? Integration is, that's all of the work that we're doing. We're trying to integrate different aspects of ourselves. So,
Right.
I remember you talked to me a little bit about your parents and your background.
Yeah.
And I found
That
it very
time went
interesting.
so quickly.
Yeah.
It went and it was such a long time, but it went so quickly and so smoothly. Yeah. I'm so used to people opening up to me. That's the kind of person I've been. That's how come I knew that right from the get-go, from a young age, I'm a type of light worker. And it's a real word. People Google it.
Yeah, the bringer of the light.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
The
the way
way-shower.
I opened up to you shocked me. Shocked me.
You don't usually open up like that.
Ebiden.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm used to that. Like, it's been a thing with me ever since I can remember. People would just open up and tell me things, and I would just listen. It
That
started off with my mom.
confidante.
Yeah, my mom was like that. And
Mashallah.
only when, later on when I asked my sister about certain things, we were talking, she said, Mom never told me this, and Mom never told me that. I was like, oh my, she told me everything.
Wow.
Yeah. It is a gift, but it is a responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
throughout the years, that's what pushed me towards, I remember when I was 13. So I told my dad I want to help people.
Nice.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people. And he said,
Yeah.
stay away from people. And, don't just focus on what you want to do,
Yeah.
But I always had this feeling, and I realized I did have a gift, but I didn't know how to, because we need training on
Yeah.
how to do things, right?
We need that. We need the right environment, the
Yeah.
right people, feeding our confidence, nurturing us
Yeah.
to bring that out, that gift out. Just like Olympic trainer right now, the Olympics are going on. Any professional sport, anything professional, whatever the field, you need someone to train you.
Yeah.
You need a mentor.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when people have innate gifts that aren't so outwardly showing, we kind of get lost in the world, and then we kind of get influenced, and then we're lost trying to figure out who we are, what do we stand for. We know there's certain things that we stand for no matter what, but we need more of that, those kind of people that want to work inward with you, but without telling you something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know? And that's why I got into social behavior and psychology, child psychology, because I was trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah. It was one of my dreams of actually wanting to study psychology, but I studied it in a kind of different kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, I went through, so I am a dentist, so I
Yeah.
do believe in the science and the medical.
Dr. Farah.
I do believe in the science of things, but I always
Yes.
had this connection of this curiosity, let's say, about like the human mind, the human spirit, and just the way that my life turned out was that I didn't do it like the official psychology way of learning, you
Yeah.
know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
But in the end, it all integrates through, right?
Subhanallah,
Yeah,
yes.
so-
And in the old days, in ancient days, psychology and our mind and those kind of things, those were sciences too.
Yeah.
You know, it just, you know, that's a whole nother topic. Just depending on what rabbit hole theory you want to believe. A lot of stuff, a lot of knowledge was hijacked.
And hidden as well.
Yes,
For
for their
the
own
purpose of
agenda.
agendas, and I think also because the human race in general, people
Yeah.
were not ready.
Yeah.
They would abuse that kind of information.
Yeah.
Or they would,
That
you
knowledge,
know,
yes.
not know exactly how to use it because you need a really good teacher. And,
Yeah.
you know, in the olden times, you would have a teacher with you for many, many years.
Yeah.
You would go in training
Yeah.
for many years.
Yeah.
And now with a busy
It's like
life.
the whole Jedi thing.
Yeah. You know, and that's how it was because
Yeah.
the nature of the humans, we were not that evolved, but now
Yeah.
I feel like people are much more evolved, and that's why
Aware.
all these teachings are being open up and
Yeah.
accessible.
Yes.
But again, you still have to be careful where you're getting your trainings from and to get
Yes.
like the good mentors that will support you and
Yes.
keep you going
And I think you
forward.
have to have a strong foundation of who you are to begin with.
Yes, your values definitely you need
And
to
then you
understand.
can integrate that
Yes.
outside stuff.
Yeah.
And then make it your own, how it fits with your life. Yeah, subhanAllah. Speaking of minds, this is a puzzle. These are the pictures, what it should be, the outcomes. So when you get a couple pieces together, inshallah, I would like you to sign it.
Oh.
Because all my guests are signing it. Eventually we will finish it. It's my little ode to what is going on. We are a watermelon friendly podcast. And
So I love it.
yeah,
Did
and
you create it yourself, or is this a certain
this
artist?
is a certain artist.
I love it.
And I took it and I got it printed on the puzzle
Nice.
at a print shop.
I love it.
And then here, there's like 7 clues, not clues, but like 7 things or 8 things that have to do with it, with being watermelon friendly, you know, like symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, can you figure some of them out?
So we have the watermelon, we
Yep.
have the peace sign, we have the dove, and the flag. That's 4. And we
Yeah.
have a key in the background. That's
Yeah.
5. And then we have the chmach in the background.
Bravo.
And we have the olives.
See, very good.
Yeah. I found it's really interesting because a lot of us, we are on this path towards awareness, and there's always one more step up the ladder. There's one more door that's
Diamond.
opening up to our awareness. And this has been
Yeah.
one of the biggest
Yeah, we talked
messages
about that
for
that
all
night.
of us.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, it's just been really eye-opening. And as I said, I do believe that people are ready to see, hear, know, and question the truth of
What they've been
everything.
fed.
Yes.
The red pill.
Yes.
It's
They've
time
been
for the
fed.
red pill. It's time for the red pill.
Yeah.
The simulation that we're living in. So, I have a lot of topics. So, what I do is the reason I made this podcast, it was my 50th birthday yesterday. So,
happy birthday.
Thank you. That's why I'm really glad that you came here today. The podcast was a bucket list thing for me over 10 years. Like before they were even making video and recording podcasts, it was just the audio. And I never had the courage to do it. So I said for my 50th birthday, I'm going to step out and lean in to myself and what I want to do and the things that are on my bucket list and start achieving all those things, taking those trips, doing the activities, learning new things. And a podcast was one of them. But what came along with that and divine timing is that now they are video.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy them. But I have a phobia for being on camera. And Asia is the one who's been working with me the most, and then my sister's also from my Lean In group. And I'm overcoming it, and this was the final step to say, get out of your cocoon, you're a caterpillar, now it's time to be your butterfly. Yeah. So
I love the metaphor.
thank you. And we have a puzzle that we work on. When you get a couple pieces together, please sign it so I can keep it as a memory.
Okay.
That is the picture it should be. Let me show the audience out here. And yeah. And so another thing what we do for activities is I do questions, but I don't want to do it just like the old boring way. Yeah. So each episode I find a different way to have the questions asked. So for example, with Asia, it was in a gift box because it was for my opening first episode, and it was in a 50, for my birthday gift box. And we would pull the questions out, and they were for me and her. For my husband, my eldest daughter actually wrote our questions and sent them. I didn't know what his to me were, and he didn't know what mine to him were.
Fun.
Yeah, it was really eye opening. You think you know someone, and we've been married 25 years. And, yeah, but we learn new things every day. And I forgot to take my patch off. How are you with the patches? Did you try them?
Oh, I love the patches. You gave me a 3-day trial. So I tried I was suffering. Remember I was telling you I had this cold?
Yeah.
And it went on for like about 10 days where I still had the after effects. I put the patch on. I put 2 patches on, the one at night and then the one in the morning. And instantly the symptoms had completely reduced. Like the inflammation had completely reduced.
It's amazing.
It was just
They're
miraculous.
amazing. We got to get you hooked up then, get your order in. And if anybody wants to order, I didn't take it off. DM me and we'll talk to you. You too, Instagram. DM me.
Yeah. I'm into always trying things.
Me too.
Alternative ways.
Yes.
Because
and put them all together to
Yeah.
come out with one protocol that works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And everything, different things help different people.
Exactly.
And I always prefer not to go down the medical pills and medications route if
Okay.
there's other alternatives,
Yes.
there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
So
If you need something
Yeah.
acute or right away emergency situation,
yeah, for sure.
then for sure we need those. We need those interventions.
Yeah.
Allopathic they call it, right?
Yeah.
But if we think about the history of any culture, any civilization, the original medicine was herbs and spices.
Yeah.
So I'm the spice coach. So, it's kind of, I don't know if you like rabbit holes or not, but, if you kind of Google the rabbit hole about how the medical industry was formed and the people or families that were behind it and what their agenda was, especially concerning offshoot byproducts of processes dealing with the petrochemical industry, you will understand 100% how our medical history evolved in the last 100 years. It's a big red pill.
Yeah. We were never taught that.
Never.
In dental school, we were not taught
Never.
anything about the history of things,
What about nutrition? Like, is there nutrition for teeth?
For sure, we did learn,
Okay.
about vitamin C and
Okay.
its importance and
Fluoride.
vitamin D, fluoride. I'm not going to go down the fluoride path, but the side effects of that. We did learn a little about a few things.
Do not want to what do they call it? Calcify?
Yeah, calcify the pineal glands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want my third eye open.
Yeah. But do you know that in Kuwait, I think in the 80s we did have fluoridated water.
Water,
but we don't
yeah.
have that anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so we did learn a little bit about a few things, but how the science is always improving. There's always
Yeah.
research going on. So
And
I'm
I like
sure-
that now. A lot of research papers, because instead of watching like true crimes and stuff on Netflix, I spend my nights reading research, clinical trials and stuff. And I see a shift. And
Yeah.
I think it's connected to what you said about there's awareness, people are evolving.
Yeah.
Even the clinical trials and those journals and published peer review studies have like alternative medicines. They're looking at different ways. They're looking at frequency. They're looking at medicine and herbs. They're looking finally at acupuncture and our meridians and traditional Chinese. Yes,
breath work,
exactly.
movement.
And so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
I really am. So being a dentist, you know, I know you guys have your own protocols and stuff, but do you as a dentist try to be, I don't know, what is it like functional dentistry? Do you try to incorporate and tell them, hey, you can do X, Y, and Z and that might help with this? That's like outside of the normal dentist protocol?
More or less, you know. But I
Okay.
mean, usually when people come, then it's dentistry is like surgery.
Okay.
You know, it's like when they come and if it's severe and we have to
You
like,
have
pull
to.
the tooth out,
Right,
there's
right.
not much to do.
Right.
Because that's something that needs to be done because it's, you know, end stage. You know,
Yeah.
it's the death of a tooth.
Yeah.
But if people come in and they have the awareness to take care of their gums and their teeth and to do the cleaning and all that, then if they're open to it, I do open up some subjects. But a lot of people, I mean, this is another reason why I really want to. Okay, so I really want to incorporate what I know, which is all about breath work and relaxation, in the field for dentists so that they know how to deal with their patients.
Beautiful.
Because a lot of people are phobic. They have really bad experiences. So yeah, you know, who doesn't?
Worst
Who
place
doesn't?
on earth for
Yeah.
me to go.
It's, I mean, there's such thing as well, like medical trauma, you know?
I don't know why, but not you.
Yeah, I know.
I have a few, like Dr. Hussein has at least like been my dude for years. I have very few people I would trust.
Yeah, of course. I
I'm
don't blame you
scared.
because of the way that we were not trained how to, like bedside manners. You know, we're not trained how to speak to patients officially. Like
So like
there's
the
no official-
etiquette of
yes,
patient.
the etiquette and how, and so it goes back to you and how you are as a person. Like, so a lot of people, they'll go in and they'll sit down and it's like surgery, as I said. It's not
Right.
something light when you're in there and you want to, you know, because you
And
get
you're in pain most
anesthesia.
of the time.
Yeah, you know, it's a whole surgical, you know, procedure.
Right.
And people are not trained so well about how to explain things and give
What's
the
going
patient
on.
choice and explain to them, you
Yeah.
know, what is going on.
Yeah.
And it's, and there's, like, I do a lot of trainings as well, like about twice a year, I do trainings for dentists on managing anxiety for themselves. And then some others are about managing patient anxiety and how to really put yourself in their shoes. Like
Nice.
you've been there, you
I
know,
like
you've been
that.
there, you know what it's like when you're sitting in the waiting room and the longer you wait, the more the
Anxiety builds
goes.
up. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's all because we're afraid of the unknown or
Exactly.
we're referring back to a previous traumatic
Trauma,
experience, you
yeah.
know, where the dentist wasn't listening or, you know, they go in and they want this tooth done and the dentist goes and does another tooth. So it's all about like building that lack of trust that's
Okay.
been taken away and to give them choice. I feel like choice is one of the most important things, you know.
Yeah, I was an autistic therapist for children. That's my first degree is in that, and that's why I'm so glad when I married the nutrition with it, because it's behavior modification, and the most important step in behavior modification, you know, Pavlov dogs, if you remember,
Yeah.
is choice.
Yeah.
You know, and then by that choice, I think I've mentioned it in one of our talks that we had at Sanctuary. So if I've been teaching an autistic child or a child that has a learning disability, I want to teach them about the sun, and we're going to agree that the sun is yellow. I'm not going to sit there and just like the sun is yellow, the sun is yellow, the sun is yellow, and give them a yellow crayon. Oh, okay, color the yellow sun. Now you understand. No, I want to put a blank thing in front, depending on what level they are on the spectrum. These are the choices you have. What color crayon? And I observe what crayon does he choose and what shape, how does he draw a sun?
Yeah.
You know, and that I think that's important in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any topic that if you don't give an individual the choice to choose, then you're impeding on their rights as a creation of God.
Yeah.
I really truly believe that. Of course, there's levels, you know,
Yeah.
from kids to adulthood, and that always goes back to that spirituality. That's what we call free will.
Yeah. We are born with free will.
Yes,
We have the right to
and we
make
need
choices,
to nurture. Yes, we
you
need
know.
to nurture that right to make
Yeah.
choices. Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. So, dentist officially, and by night, talk about Farah. What are you into? Your groovy stuff, your light
Yeah.
working stuff.
So Um, lately, I'm calling myself a holistic coach
Nice.
because over the past 11 years, I've gone into this journey of understanding myself through different tools. One of them is through studying yogic techniques from the Indian perspective and from the Chinese perspective, which is Yin Yoga. Yeah. So it's been really interesting.
Okay.
And as I said, like I started because I knew that I had been through so much in my life and I was struggling with anxiety and depression, and I didn't know that that's what it was, and I didn't really know myself that well. And actually,
Wow, bravo for being vulnerable and showing that
Yeah.
and sharing that.
I went through this identity crisis. So I am a Scorpio. And for those of you who know much about astrology, Scorpios they're like this death and rebirth process. I've been going through it my whole life. Like I've been always shifting and changing my identity. And until I think I've become really well-versed in how to do that. So when I became a mother, my whole world just collapsed. My whole world just collapsed. I was very dedicated to my job. At the time I was a children's dentist.
Wow.
Yeah, so I love children. And then I got married and I had kids, and it was completely different to what I had thought it would be,
Join the club.
So, and then I had
It does
two
get
boys.
better. It does get better.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Like, I enjoy the journey, but I didn't understand who I was. So I went from being this dedicated professional and to this person who just was emotional most of the time. My hormones, obviously, after you have two kids, or your hormones are not the same.
Yeah.
I just had brain fog, and I would collapse emotionally. I just would cry for no reason. I couldn't sleep very well. So my whole life turned upside down. And that's what I was like, okay, what am I going through? I need help with this. I need to just find stable ground again.
Okay.
So I actually did take like almost a year off work, almost a year. And then, exploring different ways of going back to center and understanding. Like I used to be a gym buff. I used to like study gym, work, and then I suddenly couldn't work out anymore. I couldn't do anything that I was used to doing. I couldn't read anything.
So you're just like paralyzed in your existence.
Yes. And I didn't really have, my husband was my support system, which is beautiful. Alhamdulillah. But other than that, I didn't know what was going on. So I reached to, some organizations to help me out. But then I started that journey of like going back to who I am on a soul level.
Nice.
Learning tools and techniques. I remember like I went to the gym and I really wanted to work out, and I just started bawling my eyes out. I couldn't function. I couldn't move. And then I went upstairs and there was a yoga class.
It was like you were triggered from the gym?
It was really exhausting. Like I was breastfeeding. So I had two boys back to back. And so I was breastfeeding the first one, and then I got pregnant with the second one. And so my hormones were all over the place. I wasn't sleeping very well. And I was just distraught. Like I was just a mess. And I remember there was this one yoga class I went in, and it was gentle and it was beautiful. And I left with complete calmness.
Wow.
And focus.
That's amazing.
And I felt good about myself.
There you go.
And before that, I had tried some classes, but I'd never really considered that it would, I was surprised, like, what is this? This peace and calm. And so that sparked the idea of training. Yeah. So I did, I've done like 4 or 5 yoga trainings,
Mashallah.
And
now you're an instructor.
Yeah, so I teach at Sanctuary right now.
Yes.
I teach online and I teach at Sanctuary every Sunday.
Nice.
For women. And
I plan to join as soon as August is
Inshallah.
over, because I've got commitments now on Sunday. But as soon
Inshallah,
as I'm looking.
So we're
forward to it.
testing out the timings, and Sunday seems
I
to work.
enjoyed your yoga at the chalet.
Yeah.
That, to me, was the way you do it. It was gentle and it flowed really well. And so I'm a circ mobility instructor, so flow is really important to me.
Yeah.
But you didn't push it, and I didn't feel inadequate, if that's the right description. And then you tied in the spirituality.
Yeah. I integrate so many things.
Yes. And I was about to fall asleep.
Oh, wow.
At the end,
Okay.
and I was like, this is so nice.
Yeah.
This is the best yoga class I've ever taken. And I've tried so many.
Okay.
I could totally drop names, but my daddy raised me right. So
Yeah.
people are gonna be like, what is going on?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's good to hear. Thank you. I've worked on it because, as I said, I did also So everything I teach, I've practiced on myself.
Yes.
I've
I think
embodied
that's
it.
the key.
Yeah, I've embodied it because I struggled with
You're a
sleep.
living testimonial.
Thanks.
Yes. That is how we should live life. Anything you test. I won't talk about anything if it hasn't been a part of my life.
Exactly. If it hasn't added something to me,
Yes.
and sometimes it takes me years to put
Exactly.
something out there because
Exactly.
I work it on myself.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and I do the classes with the students, you know, and I integrate many different concepts, but because I do believe in the concept that whatever you have worked through yourself, whatever I have overcome,
Yeah.
just by me overcoming it and then me holding that presence, whoever comes to my classes or, you know, takes the sessions with me, they automatically get that healing. You know, because I've been through the fire,
Yeah.
I've gone through the transformation.
Yeah.
So I'm holding the space of what's possible.
I love
you know,
that.
holding that energy so that you don't have to go through the long route of, you know, whatever you need to go through. You know,
Yeah.
I don't believe anymore.
You're holding the
in-
door open for them.
Exactly. I don't believe in it being painful and a struggle and, you know, like a cathartic experience anymore. You know, change can happen, transformation can happen through gentleness.
Yes.
Through compassion, through the heart,
Yes.
you know, opening your heart.
I've
and-
always hated that saying, no pain, no gain.
Yeah, it doesn't
It
have
has
to be that
never
way.
resonated with me
Yeah.
since the 80s. Never resonated with me. I didn't like it. So for all my listeners out there, you can find Dr. Farah, our yoga lady. What is it? Is there a specific name to the type of yoga that you do?
I do yin yoga.
Yin yoga.
Yeah, which is the Chinese way. And I integrate acupressure in there. I integrate, you know, chakral work,
Yeah.
visualization.
I remember
breath
that.
work,
So that's
meditation.
every Sunday at what time?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. at Sanctuary, our new sanctuary place.
Yes, in Abu Ftaira.
Isn't it nice?
It's amazing.
It's so cozy.
And I love that
It feels
it's
like
in Abu
home.
Ftaira.
Yeah.
Because we don't have many places that host such
That-
yoga classes in that
That
in the
area. Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
A lot of them are in Salmiya
That's
or
amazing.
in the city.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also do meditation classes once a month there. So
Does
the
I
next
like?
one-
I did that one with you.
Yes.
A few weeks ago at the beginning of the month.
It's a circle. We call it a circle.
I loved
so there's
it.
like group coaching.
I
there's
loved it.
Visualization.
Yeah.
There's tools that you learn.
Yeah.
You
And I
know.
used that tool at night, the one that you gave us. I used
How
it
is
at
it?
night. I it worked for me.
Yeah.
That visualization. I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
I'm an avid reader, but when I read, it's not like ABC words. I know it sounds crazy, but words come to life. Like
They do.
So
Of
if
course.
if
They
I
have
see the
power.
word book, and just for a split nanosecond, a picture of a book comes up.
Yeah.
It's not just the word.
Yep.
So I took that technique and I've used it a couple times. I like it.
That's amazing.
Alhamdulillah. So I've got a surprise basket of. I'm gonna drink some smoothie first. You gotta try my smoothie. Try my smoothie.
Try this movie. Okay.
This business has. This came out of left
So
field.
shake it.
Yes, please. I did not know how this was going to turn out. And like we were talking about, connected to, we try things on ourselves first.
Oh yeah.
I did, during COVID, I took a 6-week protocol with a famous lupus doctor in Beverly Hills online.
Wow.
She calls it the rapid recovery protocol.
Okay.
And I learned the technique of the smoothie. But I would always ask her, Doctor, like it?
So yummy.
Dr.
It's
Flynn. Did you try yours yet, Omar?
Not yet, actually. I'm saving it because I'm having coffee.
You can't have coffee with us?
Not for 30 minutes.
Oh.
It's
Is it
been
because of
30
the
minutes.
caffeine?
Yeah, and it'll change the way the chemistry pathways are.
Yeah, it's been 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's been 30 minutes. So I would ask her, well, how come you don't put ginger or turmeric or like all the stuff? And she's like, I'm not aware. I'm sure it works. I believe in all of God's foods, right? But that's not my experience. And let's get back to our puzzle. That's not my experience. The fun of not knowing what question of mine is coming out. The yoga one you've already answered,
Okay.
but
Okay,
huh?
we're on.
We're on. Do I have to say that again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you thought the camera was on?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to say that.
Do I keep the basket, guys? Is it blocking me?
I like it. It's cute. It's like a little mini picnic basket.
This is from the same. I think you were the one with the basket. The
Butterflies?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This is very old. I think this is maybe 8 years old, and this is from one of her collections.
Nice.
Do you see how we were just ships passing in the night?
Yeah.
So many people. So many people. I'm going to have her on the podcast too, by the way.
Oh,
Just,
awesome.
be careful, your tongue شوية silent.
Here.
Near the mic, feathers.
Try to move. Okay.
So go ahead and keep that on your lap, and then you pick the questions. There we go.
Okay.
Bismillah.
Do I read them?
Yeah.
What is one advice you would give a woman to be brave? One advice to be brave. So, I do believe that we all have our own intuition, our intuitive guidance. We all know what's best for us, and we all understand that we have a guiding star, a guiding light inside of us that may or may not be the same as everyone around us. And that
Okay.
is like, I think one of the most difficult things is when you see the world in a different way or you want to make a choice. And so you go into like this fearful state. You go into this fearful state and you don't know what to do. And then some people will ask around other people's advice. But I would say before you go out there and ask people, what shall I do? Or how can I get more guidance? Is to just get really quiet, really still. Especially if you're embarking on something new, you're creating something new out of your comfort zone, then you really need to be grounded and centered in who you are, knowing what your values are. You can't do that if you're busy all the time and you're rushing
Okay.
from one thing to another. So I would say
With
like,
yourself. Okay.
you know, quieten your schedule, you know, prioritize whatever you don't need to do, whatever you need to do, and then really get quiet and take time in nature if you have access to nature, because that's like
I'm reading a really good book right now about forest bathing.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so that would help you to clear your mind and then clear your emotions.
Yeah.
And when you're clear and you're connected to what you believe in, then it's easy to be brave. It's easy to be yourself. It's easy to trust, right?
Right.
And in this, so I do, I study numbers. I study intuition and I study numerology and how to understand yourself and your personality through your numbers.
I want something. I want to do something.
Yeah, we can for sure. And so I also study like the energy of, let's say, the cosmic shifts and the cosmic changes, because everything affects us. We have to understand that we are these biopsychosocial beings, and we're not just this 2D, you know, objects.
Exactly.
We have so many layers to us, right?
And even like at science, like when I always tell people, I get affected by full moons
Yeah.
very easily. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, just depending on what kind of full moon it is. And people are like, yeah, I mean, that's hogwash. And I'm like, can we all agree that full moons affect the tides? Because the earth is 70, 80% water. They're like, yeah, it makes the tides. Okay. And I'm just like, okay, well, we have trillions of cells. Can we agree on that scientific fact? Yeah. Those trillions of cells have 70, 80% water.
Yeah.
So if the full moon can do that to the entire oceans around the whole globe, imagine to our teeny tiny little cells, what's the effect?
Yeah.
But you have to be more aware of it. And a lot of people aren't making the connection.
Do you know that like during full moons, there are statistically more accidents on the street?
Accidents, murders,
yeah.
lashing out.
Lashing out as well. Women give birth
Yes.
a lot of times
Yes.
around the full moon.
Yes.
You have to remember that if you're gonna zoom out.
My daughter, Badur, which is why her name is Badur, was born on a full moon.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Her
Was
name
she born
was
early?
Yes.
There you go.
She was a preemie baby. Her name was Alia.
Oh.
And that was it, you know, before she came. And then I went into labor literally like 2 months early. And it was the middle of the night. And I was looking at the full moon. And I was like, honey, what's a name for full moon in Arabic? Like, because I have a cousin named Bedr. And I was like Bedr, but is there a female version? Because I'm not that equipped with the Arabic language at that time. It's over 20 years ago. And he said, Andana Badriya. But that's one of my aunt's name. Allah yarhamha. She has, no, it's Mama Latifa. Mama Badriya, Allah hafdha. She's still here. One of his oldest aunts. And he's like, that's the name of my aunt. It's a very old Kuwaiti name. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and there's a name Badur, which is many full moons. And my first daughter's name is Noor. And I'm into rhyming.
Badur and Noor.
I'm KG teacher. And I was like, that's it. Badur. And he's like, Badur? He's like, you can barely say it. And I was like, yep, that's the name I want. Because the full moon was calming me for my contractions in the car on the way to the hospital.
Wow. So you delivered her 2 months early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so statistically, you can look it up.
Yep.
And I remember there was this one time I saw like 2 cars on fire on the same day on a full moon in Kuwait, you know? So these things, there is evidence to back that up.
Yes.
And you know that there's these werewolf movies, you know, where
Those
someone
were so
becomes a
fun.
werewolf
Yeah.
on the full moon. Like, what is that symbolizing? That's
Yeah.
symbolizing our animal nature going crazy under the full moon.
Yeah.
That's why we have in our Islamic religion, you should fast the 3 days of al-Bid, Patayam Bid, right?
Yes.
So you fast on the day before, the day of, and the day after. And why do we fast? To control ourselves, right?
Yes.
When we're not fed and nourished, and, you know, we kind of don't have the energy to fight or argue or create, you know, chaos.
Right.
And that's why,
Beautiful
you know,
connection. I love it.
yeah. So there is a connection. Yeah.
I love it. Next question.
Okay. Oh, motherhood takes courage. What is one thing you are doing different than your mom on one thing the same? Wow. One thing I'm doing different than my mom. And one thing the same. It's really interesting because I went to visit my mom this week. So my mom's also a doctor, and I went to visit her in her office because I wanted to see.
Mashallah.
Like, I missed her. I really missed her.
Okay.
And I had the intention of going in and just being the observer and observing how she was in her work and looking for those things. And it's funny because a lot of times we want to be different because we want to be ourselves.
Yeah.
And then as you
Get
know,
older.
you become a mother.
Yeah.
And you know, this is okay, so I'm going to share this one thing. I have 2 boys and I have a girl, and the girl's the youngest. And
Allah
when
have them, ya Rab.
when I hang out with my daughter, I remember this one time while I was walking in Kuwait. It was winter time. So we live in Fnaitis. And the nice thing about it was there was a bridge and we crossed the bridge. And I was
Okay.
walking with her holding her hand. And we were going to the Jam'iyya just for a change, walking to get some groceries. And at that moment, I remembered when my mom would walk with me when we were younger and hold my hand.
It just opened up.
It just kind of, and I started to see
Flash.
myself more and more in my mom, you know?
Wow.
Especially with my girl. Like with the boys, I
Subhanallah.
didn't see it so much, but with my girl, I could definitely see how much I was like my mom, you know? Braiding her hair and all these things and all the values that she instilled in me, you know?
Mashallah.
Those are the things that, I mean, as I said, my mom's a doctor, so I'm a doctor and I followed through her footsteps, you know? And she was the first doctor in the family.
Mashallah.
Female doctor who left Kuwait to go study. It was a big thing. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I definitely admire her for that. And
Oh.
she instilled those ethics in
I'd
me.
love to meet her sometime.
Yeah, and so when I went to visit her this week, so she is a counselor for genetics counselor. She was the first one to have this specialty for patients who were diagnosed with cancer. So she would follow the family line. So she was basically like counseling them. And I saw how much I was similar to her in choosing the path that I've chosen, which is coaching and, you know, healing,
Yeah.
having her own office. Now, what is different about us is I consider myself lucky that I learned all these different skills and tools and techniques to calm myself down
Okay.
and to not incur, well, so far, alhamdulillah, I'm healthy. I don't have any chronic diseases. And that was my motivation, that I didn't want to, because, you know, we have like all these genetic predisposition to different diseases, you know, hypertension or
Yes.
diabetes. We have all that in the
Yes.
family, heart disease and all
Your
these things.
lifestyle is the trigger, but the gun is
Yeah.
loaded. Yes.
So that's what I think. I'm lucky that I have access to all these tools to learn
Right.
how to maintain and manage myself, you know, so that I can live a healthy lifestyle and, you know, remain
Life with vitality.
Yes,
Yeah.
remain full of vitality and nourishment. I think that's what's different. Even though I'll tell you this, when I went to see her in the office, I love my mom so much, and you know, and I was looking for similarities, right? So
Okay.
we had she had one of her colleagues come in and they were talking, and then she stood up and she started showing her how to move her body to stretch herself. And I was like, oh my God, Mom, you're like a yoga teacher also. You know? She started like demonstrating how to move the body. And I was just sitting there like, what? I'm exactly like you, but in a different way. But,
Yeah. How
she has
beautiful.
this interest in moving the body
And
as
moving the
well,
body.
and it's just so funny,
Because the path for any individual, doesn't matter what belief system you're in, what culture you're in, once a person is on their path of, let's say, transformation or evolving, those paths, that lighted path is pretty much the same for everybody.
Yeah.
It involves breath work, it involves movement,
Yep.
it involves knowledge, it
Yep.
involves being still
Yep.
and being alone. It's a lonely pathway, actually.
It is lonely, but you're never lonely when you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you,
I
right?
love that.
Close
Oh,
to
look
you.
at that, goosebumps.
I
I love that.
أقرب من الوريد, so close to us.
Yeah.
And it's just remembering that.
Yeah.
That you are
Your creator is there.
always.
Ever
always,
present.
Always.
Ever
So-
present and all knowing.
So, I mean, I do believe in that integrated work, You
Yeah.
can't just...
It's not just one thing.
No.
Evident. Yeah, yeah.
It's several things, as you said, like
Yeah.
moving the body so that you're taking care of your body,
Yes.
moving, breathing properly so you're oxygenating your whole body, eating well, paying attention to your emotions and understanding
That was the hard part
emotions.
for me.
It is hard because we're not
Trained.
trained to
Or
understand.
conditioned or
We're conditioned to
taught.
like shut it off. Like there's
Put
certain
it
things that are
inside.
allowed,
I was raised by boomers. Both parents were involved in wars around the world. So
Yeah.
it was like, just
There's so much fear.
get yourself together.
Yeah.
But they lived daily in fear. And that's
Yeah.
why they both died so young.
Allah yarhamhum.
They refused to heal. And they chose other things. They chose substances. And like I said to you earlier,
We all have our different ways of coping, right? It's
yeah,
all
to
coping
cope.
mechanisms.
And they were both very interested in like religions and stuff. And it's like they knew there was something more.
Yeah.
Something could make it better.
Yeah.
But they never could quite put their finger on it because they were always not in the right frame of mind, unfortunately.
It's the fear-based reality.
But
that,
yeah, they lived in fear every day. It was
Yeah.
like doomsday every
I mean,
freaking
you
day in
just-
our house.
You said it, like they lived through wars, and at the
Yeah.
time there was a lot of, it was all about money.
Yeah.
And
The American dream.
yeah. And this
Be
is,
consumerism and be in debt and then go commit suicide because you're in debt.
but this is all, if you're gonna go back to basics, it's all about this hierarchy of needs,
Right,
So
Maslow.
So if you don't have a shelter to cover
Yes.
you, food, safety,
Security, yes.
safety, then you can't think of
Anything else.
No.
At a
So
higher
those are
level.
basics.
Yep.
Those are basics.
Absolutely.
And as you get all that, then you start searching for the meaning of life. But
Right.
and self-actualization and,
Right.
But you can't get there if you're feeling afraid every day and you don't know where the money's coming from. You don't know when's the next
That's
meal.
the rabbit hole that I'm sure that certain entities around the world are trying to keep us in that frame of mind.
Yeah. And it's our
Keep
job
us down.
to yeah,
We have to.
have faith. I mean, this is where faith comes in, right?
Right.
Without faith, without understanding that you are always divinely guided and protected and supported.
Yes.
And it's all about reflection as well. Like if
Yeah.
you have a moment to reflect on your life and the times where you could have been in real danger, but you were guided, you were protected, just really connecting the dots, that also can get you closer to your
Nice.
creator.
I love it. I love it. Next question.
Oh, more questions.
Okay. Time's going so quickly.
Who is Farah? A sentence that sums up your essence of who you are. Beautiful.
Oops.
That's a tough one. But I think essentially we are these human spirits or these souls that have this human experience, and where I come here to embody what it means to live a heart-centered life, to believe in those values, of being in your heart and trusting the process,
I like that.
knowing that
Write that down for your card. Being in your heart and trusting the process.
yeah, just trusting your experience and knowing that we're here to live this heart-centered life, a life of unity and understanding and healing. We're here to just heal,
Yeah.
you know, more different fragments of us
I love that.
and connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know.
I love that.
To understand yourself is to understand Allah, I believe, you know, understand our connection to everything.
To our creator, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love that.
It's just the coming home.
I love that. I do. All right, next question. Okay. Some of these are deep, and some of them are light.
What is a country you have not visited yet but want to, and why? A country that I want to visit. It's really funny because there's so many countries I do want to go to, but I think I want to go to South America.
Okay.
There was this retreat that I wanted to go to last year. I think it was in, I can't remember which country it was in, but it was where the Machu Picchu
Okay.
monuments are. So I spent a lot of my life traveling.
Okay.
And traveling means I lived in the countries, not just traveling for fun.
Okay.
And as I've gotten older, I've gotten into my comfort zone, and I kind of have a fear of traveling.
Okay.
Not a fear, but it is a fear.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a fear of change and all that, which is, you know, like this year, I think I went to Mecca. That was it for a weekend.
How was that?
And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really, really beautiful.
My first time seeing the Kaaba was
Yeah. It was my first time, and it just felt unreal.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like it was a hologram.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And it was so humbling
Yes.
because you see people from different parts of the world.
All over the world.
And everyone's coming for the same purpose.
Yeah.
Different
You
colors,
feel the
different
energy.
faces,
Yeah.
different
You feel that energy.
backgrounds, and we're all here wearing simple clothes,
Yeah.
praying to
Back
Allah.
to the basics. Yep.
And it was just really humbling.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, it was really joyous. Like, I was laughing a lot of the times. Like, I was like walking around the Kaaba, and I was just laughing, and I felt like childlike wonder.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that. Because people are always like, you got to be so serious.
It wasn't
No.
for me. It was just laughing and like,
Your
oh my
inner
God, I can't
child's
believe I'm
healing.
here. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
My inner child was very happy.
Yeah.
You know?
I
It's
love
really
that.
humbling. It's really humbling.
I always get told I have Peter Pan syndrome. Oh, wow.
I mean, being childlike is being in wonder all the time.
Absolutely.
And looking at the world through new eyes. As we get older, we kind of get ingrained in our ways and we get skeptical, you know?
Yes. And more paranoid.
And that's the joy of traveling as
So
well.
somewhere in South America.
South America, I'd love to go there. Check out
Me, I want to see the spices and check out the temples and
the temples
Pyramids
and mountains.
and yeah.
I think it was
try me some
Peru.
mushrooms.
Peru, that was, yeah. I really wanted to go to Peru and just be out there in nature, you know?
Yeah.
Just what it would be like to just be there, you know?
Nice. I like that. Okay. Another question? I think we're almost done with them, right?
Your favorite number? Let's talk numbers. Okay.
Yeah, I want to do numbers.
Okay. My favorite number is 8. An 8 because I'm a ruling number 8. That's my number. And what does that mean? That is basically the day that I'm born is my ruling number, which is my power number. And how do you calculate that? You basically calculate like the date of birth, you add that to the month and the whole year.
Oh, there's math, guys.
Yeah, there's math.
Warning, there's math. Okay, let's
So,
do my birthday.
Yours.
Because my
let's do
birthday was
yours.
yesterday.
So you give me your number and
Yes.
I calculated that you were born in
1974.
Yeah. Okay, good calculation. So
I'm 50, baby.
yeah. So numerology is basically the language of interpreting energy. you know?
Okay.
So you know that everything is made of vibration. Everything.
Do you
is
hear
made of
that, guys?
vibration.
Everything's made from vibration.
Yeah.
Vibration.
So when we can understand certain concepts. Like numerology is understanding yourself through your numbers, which is the day you're born. It's no coincidence that you're born on that special day. And a lot of people I've talked to, the numbers in their birthday are special to them. You know, like even if they don't calculate the full thing and come up with a number.
Yeah,
under
my favorite
11
number is 8.
is 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a
August.
reason why?
My mind is very symmetrical. It's the left and right have to match up. Like I'm one of those weirdos that like OCD. And so I like the number 8 because there's no breaks in it. There's no
Yep. It's
blah,
a
blah,
flow,
blah. It's a flow.
continuity.
And then when I got older and realized and learned that it was the infinity symbol, that just added to the
Yeah.
beauty of it. And yeah, so it's my favorite number.
Wow. So we are in an 8 energy year. We calculate I mean, there's so many ways of using the numerology.
Okay.
One of them is calculating the day that your soul code or your ruling number.
Okay.
And then to understand that is to understand like your strengths, your weaknesses.
Let's
your
go.
sabotages.
Let's
Okay.
go. Let's move this to the side.
We could talk for hours about this. So calculating yours.
Do I need
yours-
to write stuff down?
No, you know what I'll do?
Okay.
I'll send you a report so that you have it with you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And do you
then-
offer these to other people if people are interested?
Yes, I do these
Okay.
numerology reports where we go into details about your strengths, your weaknesses, and
Okay.
understanding your message in this life, understanding how to use your numbers for
Okay.
your own good.
And so that's available on your bio Instagram.
Yes.
All right.
You can DM me and then we can, get a report done.
All
And then
right.
tools and techniques that can help you understand yourself better and manage whatever struggles you're going through, right? Because when we understand that we are born with certain gifts and certain weaknesses, but if we keep perceiving them as weaknesses, then we're unable to
Move
hack
forward.
them, understand them, use them, actually
Right.
create them and move them, shift them into a strength, So your ruling number is a number 5.
Oh.
And I want you to activate your own intuition in this because
Okay.
it really helps you to, connect with the energy of numbers because numbers are everywhere. They're
Well,
on
as
street
soon as you said
signs.
number 5, the first thing that popped in my head is I have 4 children, but I lost a son before my eldest who was now my eldest born. So I have a lost son, my first child, first pregnancy, before my eldest Noor now. And so as soon as you said 5, that's what popped in my head.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So 5 is, I'll talk about some of the strengths.
Okay.
So 5 is this energy of childlike wonder, which is what we talked about. This energy
Peter
of
Pan. It's
yes,
real.
yes.
Okay.
It's this energy of the wanderer, the traveler, the one who sees life in a lighter way.
Wow.
It's like the butterfly who's always going from flower to flower, tasting the different nectars, So for you, it's very important that you can express yourself that way creatively
Okay.
and have the ability to either travel or be playful, try new things.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And through doing that, you have a certain kind of wisdom that you can pass on to others, through your life experience. I mean, I know that you said you've been in a different culture and you're in Kuwait now and you've
Yeah.
learned the culture here.
Yeah.
So that you have that sense of adaptability, the ability to see the good everywhere
Yeah.
and to integrate. And then when you've integrated, you can pass on whatever lessons you've learned through your life's wisdom to
Yeah.
others,
I'm trying to reprogram my epigenetics every day. Every day. That's a struggle. A struggle is real. Okay, I like that. 5.
Yeah. And it's very heart-centered, It's the center of the numbers. So it's very compassionate. And maybe that's what people sense when they're around you, that they're able
Maybe.
to open up to you,
At one point, I was telling my dad I wanted to be a lawyer, and he told me I couldn't
Yeah.
because I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yeah, they're very heart-centered. It's all
My
about
husband tells me, "Timshi, hayatich ala baraka." He always says that, and I'm just like, "That's a good thing." And he's like, "Most of the time, بس واحد خاف عليك." I'm just like, okay.
so freedom is very important to you as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. Freedom is one of your highest values.
Yes.
Yeah. You can't, it has, like, you've chosen your own path, and it's always going to be that way. Nobody can influence you unless it's what, aligns with your sense of freedom.
And that's how it brought me to Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, truly believe that people should have a choice in life.
Yeah.
And, أنا ما بشغل بالناس تاني if they make choices in their life that don't get them results. But I believe in making choices that get results. I'm always looking for the end result. For me, like, what's the progress as a person, or my physical health, or my mental health?
Yeah, so the reason why you're always looking for progress. So there's this thing I do where I put the numbers on a grid as well.
Okay.
And so we get these different arrows. And one of the arrows that you have, so I'm going to show it to you.
Okay.
When I put, this is like in a more advanced
Like
reading.
a TikTok.
Yes, like a TikTok. And then when we put all the numbers on the grid, we can understand you on a deeper level and on a more practical sense. So you have this arrow of activity where you have 7, 8, and 9. And that's why for you, it's important to get an idea. And it's easy for you to get an idea into creation, into fruition, into manifestation.
Oh.
That's why you said it's important for you to get results. So for you, you have the ability to do that.
Wow.
So being in your presence, people who don't have the ability can borrow that energy from you. You can help them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And you are, because you have like dominance in the physical plane where your numbers are on the physical plane. So the 1, 4, 7, it's all about the material world and being in the physical world. So that's why, again, you need to have tangible results. That's why you're into nutrition and food, because that's literally the most physical thing that you can.
Yeah.
You know?
SubhanAllah. Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah, and that's why also movement is important to you.
Yes.
And you do that already. You teach people through movement.
Yeah.
Being in nature is important to you.
Yeah.
It's how you process life. You process it through the physical world. Now, everything has high vibe and a low vibe.
Okay.
Right? So the
Absolutely.
high vibe of the 5, we talked about that freedom, expression,
Right.
playfulness. And what's the low vibe of that?
Oh,
So
what's the
too
low
much?
vibe? Okay.
What's too much of being too playful, too experimental, too much seeking freedom is never landing. Like, alhamdulillah, like you're married, so you have the children and you're supporting them and you're honoring your commitment. But for some 5s, maybe they will never actually land into that. They may be seeking love, but it's hard for them to commit to something like marriage because they honor their freedom too much, or they want to travel all the time. It's like being ungrounded, airy-fairy, right?
Yeah.
But maybe because you have those 2 arrows, they're supporting you and grounding you. So see, all the numbers play a role in your life.
Yeah.
All the numbers affect who you are and how you process life.
So fascinating.
It is, isn't it? It is very fascinating. I can talk forever about this.
So fascinating.
Yeah. So other ways that you can use numbers is through forecasting. Forecasting is just reading the energies, never telling the future, but it's understanding
Very good point.
the energies that we are swimming in. We're all swimming in different energies, right? Like, for example, we're in this beautiful quiet room, so it's serene, and if you notice, you're feeling calm and able to focus because it's really isolated. Like, I don't hear any noise from the outside. So it's affecting me. It's allowing me to be centered and stable.
Okay.
But imagine if we're going to do the podcast with the windows open on this
Right.
main street and there's like noise.
Right.
Noise carries a vibration. It's going to affect us
It's
and we
gonna
won't be able
affect
to
us.
think,
Yeah.
So, and because we don't live in a vacuum, we don't
Right.
live in a bubble. We live in the real world.
Right.
And we live on Earth, and there's moon that's shifting and changing, and
Right.
there's planets that are moving. And this is all like scientific stuff. It's real. It's not like, a woo, but everything affects everything.
Right.
So get this visualization that when you zoom out, we're these tiny little things on this massive Earth.
Yeah.
And the Earth is this tiny little thing in this whole galaxy
Absolutely.
of stars.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Solar system. So, of course, everything's going to affect everything.
Yeah.
The
And everything's
movement of-
connected.
Everything's connected. Everything's
Yeah.
connected. So when you understand what's happening on a macro level, you'll understand that you can prepare better. So that's why I do the forecasts, and I make them practical so that, for example, every month I do a forecast about the energy of the month, and every year I do one about the energy of the year and how things may or may not influence us, and then tools and techniques that you can use, like how, for example, this month we're in August. It's a 7 energy month, and we are being invited. It's always an invitation from the universe to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, to jump. It's this energy of jumping into the pool, diving into the experience that you've always wanted to have.
Nice.
So the energy supports you.
Right.
And if you lean into that, then you will understand that there are certain challenges in your life, and understand that the challenges are meant to help you. They're lessons, they're teachers towards what you want.
To kind of
For you to get to where you want to do.
Yeah.
You know? So, for example, using the example of you wanting to do this podcast for a while.
Yeah.
And being in this energy. So this whole year is an energy year.
Yeah.
And 8 is all about manifestation, abundance, physicalization, and working towards what you're devoted to, your values, you know? So when you understand that, and obviously we have a low vibe. So the low vibe is if you're not, so the universe or, you know, the world around us is pushing us to be connected to our values and living according to our values, not just writing them down on paper and visual and dreaming up a life, but actually going for your dreams so that you can get to where you need to get to, where your soul is leading you to, your spirit is guiding you to.
Yeah.
And so things might not, on the surface, you might be having disruptions at work, disruptions with friendships, disruptions at home, because it's all pushing you to maybe speak up for yourself, maybe to go back and like ask, what is it that I want? Who am I? You know, getting you closer to what you actually desire, you know?
Okay.
So being more brave, being more courageous, following your dreams, you know? So if you see it that way, then you'll interpret things in a different way. So you'll understand that life is happening for me and not to me.
Yeah.
So going back to the example of this month, the high vibe is you're being pushed out of your comfort zone. You're doing things that you dreamed of for a long time and you're like, yalla, now's the time to do it. But if you don't do it, then you fall into procrastination, maybe the depression, indecisiveness,
Yeah.
you know, inability to make a decision.
It's so weird because the big things, I'm able to make decisions just like that. It's like book coming out, cooking classes, podcasts, so many things at a big level.
Yeah.
But the I guess micro level or individual personal level, I can't figure out what outfit to wear. I literally will just sit in the middle of my closet and cry.
Okay.
I don't like making those decisions. So what I did to overcome that, I took everything out. I put 6 or 7 outfits that you're going to see me wearing them all summer long because I have no mind to think of anything else that I like. They resonate with me. It's the color I'm feeling or it's the material that I like. And that's it. I have no other choices. I don't want any other choices except for those.
Well, I can explain to you what's happening with you. So a lot of your energy is going into your creations.
Okay.
Right? So the decision center is the prefrontal cortex, which is the forehead
Right.
area of our brain.
Right.
And so when you're constantly making decisions, your brain gets exhausted.
Yeah.
This part of your brain gets exhausted.
Decision fatigue.
Yeah. And you're a mom as well.
Yeah.
So remembering that when you're a mom, you're the prefrontal
They
cortex.
suck the life out of you.
You're a decision maker for everyone in the household, like it or not. So you're overexhausted with decision making.
Yes.
And there are some things that, like, I mean, you managed yourself out of it by choosing a few outfits to wear
Yeah.
khalas, you know?
Yeah.
And did you know that Steve Jobs only had black t-shirts
Yeah,
and jeans?
his turtleneck and jeans.
Yeah. Why? Because he doesn't want to waste his brain energy making decisions on what to wear. So he has that and he just puts that on.
That was like his trademark or something.
No, he's saving brain time and space and energy.
Yeah,
so
Tony
that he
Robbins does the same thing.
yeah. Because you're saving, you know, a lot of energy decision making. And that's why I like routine. You know, routine helps me to just do the thing that I'm supposed to do without wasting, because it wastes so much energy when you're deciding. You know, it takes so much brain energy to focus and to make a decision. And then you have your mind, you know, negotiating with you. And that's just, you're going to go down a rabbit hole. And that's such a waste of
And
energy.
it gets so frustrating.
Yeah, it's such a waste of space, brain space. So I think that's what's happening with you. And it's not such a big deal. It's just outfits, right? As long as you're able to use your brain space for big decisions.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Alhamdulillah. Just I don't
You know?
want, I'm looking forward to like winter coming because I'm just like so done with like summer vibe.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions left in there? I think there might be some.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a thing. This, I know it looks like a beat up old mirror because it is. This is about 20 years old. I used to use this for my students. It's something I'm added to this episode. Every episode I build up and do something different, but it's going to be something continuous. So, like the mirror, mirror on the wall. I would give these to my students so that they would have to say something about themselves in a positive way and look at themselves in the mirror. And it really, for 5-year-olds, if you teach them this technique from a very young age, it can do a lot of beneficial things for their psychology, for their confidence. And as the years went by, or even like that same school year with that same class, there was a mirror by the sink where they'd wash their hands after painting, and they would be looking in the mirror and be like, "You're beautiful."
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
And they just started to learn to look in the mirror and I didn't use the words like affirmations back then, but that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to have every guest do is so that's why it's a beat up mirror. It's like a lucky mirror for me. I've stuck my podcast sticker on it now. This has been in the hands of hundreds of little kids over the years. And so that energy's there. And it's like, it kind of centers our talk about that child awe, and I really believe those themes came through from God today. I really, truly believe that, because we didn't even have any discussion about this Peter Pan stuff. So to me, that is definitely a sign from the universe saying that I am on the right path on the way I think and being in touch with my feelings. I want you to look in the mirror, and what message do you have for your future self?
Oh, future self.
And what either advice or apology or anything for your past self?
That's a lot.
Just one simple sentence
One
for
simple
each.
sentence
Yeah,
for the
each.
future?
For the future, and something for Farah of the past. If you could give her advice.
Okay. So I'll start
Let me
with the
take
past.
a picture of you while you're doing that. I'll
Okay.
send it to you. You start with the past.
Yeah. So the past, Farah, I'm so proud of you. Keep going. You're on the right track. Some days it won't feel like it, but trust me, just keep going and wonderful things will show up for you.
Beautiful. I love that.
Future self. Can you please give me a hint? Like, give me a flash.
I love that. I know, right?
Even though we have our own destined path,
Yeah.
and we feel it in our hearts, we always worry about the next step.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
future, like
the unknown.
and we always want to have like a clear picture.
Yeah.
But really, it's just about the next step.
Yeah.
So
Drop some clues.
yeah, drop some clues. Oh, you know what? Thank you for supporting me in everything I'm doing. And I know that you're guiding me and you're watching over me. And thank you for holding the light for me to see through the darkness.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you for starting and initiating that. I love it. The energy is now there.
Thank you.
And this guy. So we have your last question.
Yes. I'm going to ask you a question. It says, ask me any question.
Yeah. That's the last question. Wait, let me get in.
Okay. So,
I'm a number 8.
what do you think your role is, and how can you help the upcoming generations? What advice would you give them? Like let's say the teens, they're in a different world than we were growing up, completely different, So what advice would you give them that you think would support them? And where do you see yourself like playing a role in their lives when they, in the future or in the current?
I mean, I think the most important advice I could give any future generation, and I put it on every email or signing off on anything, is laugh a lot, love more, move around, and eat right. Yeah.
I love that.
That's just like the basics of me. And if you sit and look at the generations that are after us, some of them are kind of lost, and maybe they've got like 1 out of the 4 right. They just don't move around like we were on our bikes until the lights came on.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, we had Twinkies and Oreos, but we still ate good home cooked food, you know. Getting fast food was a reward or a treat, a weekend treat. It wasn't a daily thing. So, and being entertained, it wasn't a convenience. We had to work to be entertained. We had to drive our bikes somewhere. We had to find a place to explore. If we read a book or watched a movie, we had to use our imaginations. I feel the future generation, and now with AI, which I like AI, it can be used in a beneficial way, but I just feel like the minds of the future generation, you know, it's just like using a calculator all the time, and you're going to get worse at math, right? People following recipes, like I'm into cooking. The reason I don't like baking is because it has to be to the T. And I was not gifted like my daughter got after my dad. She can just bake a cake with no recipe and just put a toothpick in there and be like, oh, it needs a minute and a half and then it'll be done. Take it out. I'm just like, how do you do that? Baking and me are not friends. Flour and me are not friends. So it's follow your intuition, find your inner self in your higher self and follow her always, or him always, because we're always guided.
Yeah.
We're never alone.
And how do you think we can, like, what's our role in all of this? Because I do feel like,
Each one has their own purpose.
yeah,
You know, even the guy that's holding the elevator open for us and the door downstairs, every human being on this planet has their purpose. I really, truly believe that. Just like every insect has its role, even the ones we don't like, the ones that creep us out. Khalil Gibran is one of my favorite authors, and he says, no leaf turns brown without God's hand in it.
yeah,
And I believe in that.
yeah.
I truly believe in that.
And if we're talking about purpose, do you think it's something that's a one and done thing?
No. It's a continuation of who you are, and the beginning of your life is those small steps until you get to your purpose. So along the way you might find different alleyways of purposes and what you have to do, but the ultimate is that destination, which I believe is transformation from this life, our transition.
And connection to Allah,
Yeah.
subhanahu wa ta'ala. I strongly believe that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for
I
having
hope
me.
you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you for my numbers reading. I liked that. That was fun. And I'll be definitely putting in the post where people can find you. And thank you for blessing my podcast. And that's it. You can say cut.
Cut.
Cut.